So I'm about to head to the gym right now, get my cardio and strength training workout going on today. But there's been something that's been on my mind and heavy on my heart for the past few months or so. A lot of people see content creators and they think, oh, we live this luxurious life. We have so many people following us. We make so much money. It's like a dream job. And for the most part, it is. I get to spend my time with people that, have the same interests and the same passion as me. Even the people who don't, I get to build a community, which is one of the most important things about content creation. And before I get any further, I just want to say a quick thank you to all of you who supported my content, who support my videos, who even support this journey. It means the world to me. I love y'all, and I just wanted to get out of the way. But lately, as I said, something's been weighing on my heart. Lately, I've been feeling like I'm kind of at a standstill. The reason why I say I feel like I'm kind of at a standstill is because I never anticipated content creation being my primary source of income, if that makes sense. When I first got into content creation, it was about 5 years ago. During the pandemic, I worked for a large bank. Can't say the name, unfortunately, because I don't want to get sued and don't want them getting in any trouble. But I worked for a large bank. I worked for the company for a little over 10 years. During COVID, there were some changes. There were some things that took place. I unfortunately lost my role. Changes happen, whatever the case was, it is what it is. For the longest time, I wanted to cook. It was a dream of mine since I was a kid. I cooked since I was 7 years old when I made my first pancake. I loved cooking for my siblings, my family. It was just a passion of mine. A lot of people back in the day didn't really think that a chef was really a lucrative kind of job. People told me, go to college, get your degrees, you get a high paying job, you'll be perfectly fine. And that's what I did. I got my degrees in human resources management. I had a high paying job, but I wasn't happy. When I go to work every day, I would feel like, is this my life? I could do so much more. There was so much more that I could do. I felt like I had a gift of uniting people, of bringing people together, but I didn't know a way to execute that. So I lost my job. At home, just thinking of ways to make money, to save money. I talked with my now wife at the time about, ways to budget. And one of the ways we decided to do was for me to cook because, I love to cook and cooking was a passion of mine. So I cooked instead of, ordering out or, do a takeout or whatever. I started watching YouTube a little bit more, started watching Joshua Wiseman's videos, and I just saw the way how he was able to build a community just by sharing his love of cooking. And I thought to myself, well, you know what? That's something that I can see myself doing. And what I started doing was, I didn't do video editing or recording at the time. I just took pictures with my phone. And for those of y'all who originally followed me, y'all know that my pictures weren't exactly the best quality. I didn't really make that big of an impact with my page at first because it was just me, just sharing pictures. And, slowly but surely I started to build a community. I started to build supporters. I don't like using the word followers. It makes me seem like a cult leader. And if I do say followers, it's out of, habit and an accident, but I typically say supporters. So I started to build more supporters. Word got around that I started cooking and started doing food content and, things like that. And people just gravitated towards my page, and I started to blow up. I started to, start to get a little popularity, started to get some fame. And I thought to myself, well, let's see how I can, monetize this. Let's see how I could make a living off of this, because I always said I wanted to do something that brought community together, but I also wanted to work and do something that made me feel happy and made me want to wake up every single day and just be excited about doing something. So that's when the cooking came into place. I started making plates for people. I, got brand deals. I just started making money off of this. And this was like, wow, I can do this. But as any content creator will tell you, that money isn't frequent. And the reason being is these platforms like, Meta, TikTok, they have certain rules and guidelines that they have to abide by, which again, like I said, I respect it. I'm not knocking y'all. Y'all have certain rules and guidelines that you have to abide by where, for whatever reason, you're not paying creators on a regular cadence. You know what I mean? Like, there are creators who build your platforms and they make tons of money for your platform. They give you all these views, but they're not being paid. And I understand it and I don't at the same time. But my mentality is I need to make money with something that I'm backed up with. You know what I mean? Like a website, a digital product, something that I could say is 100% mine, that has no bearing to what another company does. And so it took a while for me to get there, and I started to build a website. Now, just to kind of give some context, this website just launched in December of 2024. I started the process of having this website in, I want to say, January of 2023. And, you know, for a multitude of reasons, I wasn't able to launch it. You know, it was money, finances got in the way. It was, resources, having somebody, build the website for me, different things like that. But the website was going to be my way of earning money over time, as I built it and started to promote it more. Because anybody who knows, blogging and knows about creating recipe websites is that you get paid long-term through ad revenue, how many people visit your website, different things like that. And that's something that takes time. But it also takes money and it also takes resources, which are things that at the time I didn't have. And so we fast forward to now where, I'll be honest with y'all, it's kind of been a while since I've had a brand deal. I'd probably say about, maybe a few months. Currently, while I'm, trying to build my business, I am looking for a job, because while content creation is, lucrative, it's not consistent. It's not something that brings in money every single day, unless you either have your money saved, unless you have a stable source of, secondary income. If, your multiple sources of income are making a multitude of money, then yeah, you can live off of content creation. But the reality is, it's not, for everybody. It's not something everybody gets to do. For me personally, I have a wife, I have 2 children, one who's in college right now, one who's special needs, and it's not something that I can just say, all right, I'm gonna do content creation and that's it, and hopefully, the money comes in. I have to start making money now. I've been looking for work. It's been challenging. It's been a long process, but as with anything that I do, I always keep the faith. I always keep myself in good spirits, because eventually things do work out. But I'll be honest with you guys, it's been depressing. I've had moments where, I'm just editing a video and I'm in tears because I feel like a failure sometimes. I want to provide for my family. I want to do more for my family. I want to have that leadership that that they know me for. When I first, got my wife and, we started dating, there would be constant date nights. There would never be a day where she would feel like, okay, well, we have nothing planned. Like, I always had something planned. It's been less sporadic now, but, I still do the date nights, but it hasn't been as frequent. And it's not to say that we don't go out or don't do date nights, but it's not, like I said, like on a daily cadence anymore. It's more so, hey, let's plan a couple of things a month to do and try to budget around that. I feel bad because she knows me and she hasn't complained about it, because, she's more budget savvy than I am. So she knows realistically going out every single day isn't really going to be beneficial to us, especially since we're trying to save up and move. But the man in me feels bad because, I promised her that I would, give her a life of luxury, a life where she didn't have to worry about working, a life where she didn't have to worry about bills or what's being paid. And not to say that she has to worry about bills being paid now, because our bills are paid. Don't worry. That's priority. Our bills are taken care of. But I didn't want her to have to work. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to treat her like the queen that she is and give her the life that she deserves. I wanted to give my kids the life that they deserve also. Like, I wanted to be able to consistently make sure that you have the adequate resources that you need. And sorry if this seems like I'm going all over the place, and I don't mean to go crazy with the rant, but I say all this to say that as a man dedicated to his family, a man dedicated to his wife and his children, a man dedicated to God and just doing the right thing, Sometimes I feel like life just throws an anchor in my direction and I don't know how to stop myself from sinking. It's tough. You know what I mean? Like, there are days where I just want to sit back and cry. There are days where I just feel like I don't want to do this anymore. But I know deep down that I have a family that loves me and a family that relies on me. And I have a community that supports me, and I can't give up on it. So if anybody's listening to this rant, this wasn't going to be some, long-winded video. I wasn't going to do any cooking. I wasn't going to do anything involving a restaurant. This was just me getting this off my chest. I felt, a little bit discouraged waking up this morning, but at the same time, I know that discouragement just goes away. I had to keep myself positive. I had to keep myself knowing that God's got my back. And, this is just a setback. And for every setback, there's a comeback. And my comeback story is going to be great. So if you're listening to this and you're feeling discouraged, please know that you're not alone. Please know that somebody is looking out for you. Somebody has your back. Somebody is there rooting you on. And if nobody is rooting you on, come to my channel, subscribe, comment on my page if you're going through something, and know that I'll support you in whatever you're doing. If you're trying to do the right thing, I support you. If you're trying to be there for your family, you got my support. If you're looking to get into content creation, if you're looking to, make something out of yourself, if you're looking to just be a better person, I support you. But yeah, that was it. Just wanted to get a little quick rant in. I'm about to go to the gym right now, get my workout in for the day. But yeah, just wanted to get it off my chest. But anyway, hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're having a great day. I'll be back with the food content soon. Make sure you follow for more recipes and videos and rants and testimonies like these. And until the next time we feast, peace.